आर्यन आद्या ठीक है ना? हाँ वही आर्यन इधर आर्यन तन्मित्रा अयान सॉरी आर्यन अंशुल दिया हाँ बोलो हाँ पानी गिर गया जाने दो इस साइड बैठ गया ना इधर और वो अच्छा चलो क्या हुआ तुम्हारा कैसा गया एग्जाम अच्छा गया इट वाज गुड ठीक है और तुम्हारा एग्जाम कैसे गया युवान ना
सर्वेश
हाँ सर्वेश नहीं एग्जाम कैसा गया
हाँ सर आई एम डिफरेंट
हाँ फ्रॉम डिफरेंट स्कूल तुम्हारा एग्जाम था नहीं इसी का भी एग्जाम है आज एग्जाम हुआ हाउ वाज इट so what which subject it was हिंदी अभी कल क्या है अच्छा इनके दिन छोड़ के ओके वीकली टेस्ट है क्या ओके और ठीक है ना नाउ हम लोग को क्या करना है नया टॉपिक स्टार्ट करना है हाँ नेक्स्ट चैप्टर व्हिच वन atoms and molecules ठीक है ना so let us start working on atoms and molecules and start yeah Srinidhi, good evening.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Today we are starting with atoms and molecules. ठीक है ना? Mitra, are you there? Aryan, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Anshul?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. सब लोग हैं उधर. On your video channel. Ivan, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Good, very good. Now, what is atoms and molecules? Let us understand this particular part. Here, so what is this? What is this? What is this? Spectacle. You get? What is this? What is this? But all of them are having one thing common. What is that? Huh? One thing common that they are all solid, but they are also called as what? Matter. So first we'll try to understand what is this matter. Now matter merely consists of what? For example, substances. Yes. Now substances like for example these substances. Okay, if I take one substance, okay, and I start breaking it, this particular matter will break into what? Small particles. Yes or no?
Yes.
Small pieces. After some time again I break further, it becomes smaller. I break them further, they become still smaller. Further, break smaller. That means they go on. When I go on breaking, they become small and more in number. Yes or no? Umpteen times I break them, and time comes when I try to break this last set of particles. Can you see? ध्यान से देखो उधर है वो दिख रहा है कि नहीं जुआन? On your right side have become what? देखो चेक करो. आइए देखिए होता. Adya इधर आके देखिए. Look at this. Adya is coming and checking whether particles are there or not. हाँ? किधर दिख रहा है? वहाँ पे दिख रहा है आपको. Good. You are having supernatural power. Now look here. These substances, the particles are invisible. They are there, but they are invisible. But Adya could see there is something super power. Okay? That means these particles, if I try to break them further, clear, I cannot see with the, actually, of course, with the naked eye, I cannot see with an ordinary microscope, but with an electron microscope, I can see these particles. And these particles, which are tiny particles, in fact, the tiniest, which I could get, clear, indivisible, इसके बाद हम लोग break नहीं कर सकते. At the same time, almost invisible. No, I don't. No. Again, this tiny or tiniest, okay, invisible, indivisible, invisible, okay, particle or structureless particle. कोई structure नहीं है साइंटिस्ट कह रहे हैं. Okay, structureless, hollow. Particle of matter given by a man called John Galton in 1808, schoolmaster from England. Indivisible, invisible. John Dalton 1808, 1808 में दिया था. The year. Okay. This gentleman who was a schoolmaster from England, he said atom is that, I mean, these particles, okay, which are tiniest, indivisible, invisible, okay, or structureless, hollow, these particles are going to be called as what? Atoms. Atoms have come from the Greek word atomio. Means what? Tomio means what? Cut. Cannot be cut. Uncut.
Sir, can you tell the name of the person once again?
John Dalton. John Dalton in 1808, okay? A schoolmaster from England. He said atom is something what? Or atoms are nothing but tiniest or tiny, indivisible, invisible, structureless, hollow particle of the matter, which has all the properties of that matter. Okay? Matter in the sense when you talk about matter in this case, it is basically elements. Okay? Now, that means what? All the properties of that matter is there in those atoms. So if you study atoms, we are studying elements. Right now, if we study about the cells of the human beings or animals, we are studying the whole body as a matter of fact. Why? Because our whole body is made up of n number of cells. Isn't it? So one can say, for example, here, this kind of, for example, study was shown as what? For example, atom. Now, atoms, according to John Dalton, was having what? For example, completely hollow. But on the basis of various experiments, when scientists have started carrying out experiment, they found that atom is not just fully empty. It is containing some particles, which are nothing but three fundamental particles they got. What are those? Protons, electrons, and neutrons. Scientists were very surprised that in this smallest particle, there is still some, we can say, for example, smaller particles than the atom. That means atom is not fully empty, not fully hollow. It contains these particles. Now, how they identify these particles? Okay, before we understand that, first of all, John Dalton came out with certain postulates. What are the postulates? The first postulate is the guideline that atoms, these atoms which are there now making them visible, these atoms actually what? Are the smallest particle of the element or matter. Point number one. Point number two, atoms of same element have same masses and same properties. Like though atom है hydrogen के, इन लोग का mass और properties same रहेगा. But अगर एक atom carbon का है और एक atom hydrogen का है, since they are atoms of different elements, their masses and properties will be different. Two Indians will have same properties, but one Indian and one American will have different properties. Eating habits, what is the height, complexion, etc. The properties will be different. Clear? So one can say, for example, these, for example, these atoms of the same element are actually alike, whereas atoms of different elements are actually more different. Then these atoms, they combine and form what? Molecules. Molecules are basically group of atoms, two or more atoms combined together. Yes or no? For example, अगर एक कार्बन एक दो ऑक्सीजन से कंबाइन करेगा, क्या मिलेगा? कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. जो वाटर हम लोग पी रहे हैं, दो हाइड्रोजन ऑक्सीजन से कंबाइन करेंगे, तो maybe what? H2O. In other words, the molecules are formed by the combination of atoms in a whole number. That is, what is the ratio of carbon to oxygen? One carbon atom and two oxygen. So ratio is 1:2. Likewise, for example, here two hydrogen atom is to 1. Right? So the union of atoms of different elements, when they combine in a simple whole number ratio. Yeah? Okay. On the basis of this, okay, some more, for example, laws were brought forward. But before that, okay, we have to understand one thing. There are three particles over here. Protons, electrons, and okay. Moreover, we have to understand one thing, that these atoms cannot be created nor be destroyed. This was proved by certain laws. There are two laws basically. The first law is called as what? Law of conservation of mass. What is this law of conservation of mass? Law of conservation of mass says that, listen to it carefully, that suppose you are taking two reactants, combining them to form what? Product like C. Let us say mass of A is 2 grams, mass of B is 10 grams. So mass of C will be how much? 12 grams. And C is a combination of what? A and B. That means masses are conserved in any chemical reaction. An atom can neither be created nor be destroyed, but they change their composition. Clear? A देखो, अब B के साथ हो गया, यहाँ B, A, B के साथ नहीं है, यहाँ B is missing A, but here both of them are there. So when the things are different, or static materials and ending materials are different, but the mass is the same, this is called law of conservation of mass. Then there is actually one more law which says law of definite proportion. Means what? Law of definite proportion means you obtain a compound like water, okay, from different sources. Let us say, for example, water has been obtained by Sarvesh from tap, pure water. Let us say, for example, Diya has obtained water from what? For example, from rain. Rain is a pure, let us say, for example, gives pure form of water. Okay. So whether rain or tap, they are obtained from different sources. Then both of them, the water contains H2O. Okay, that is 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen. If somebody asks me, sir, what is the percentage of hydrogen and oxygen in this water? So scientists have found out that whether you obtain water from tap or rain, the water the composition में hydrogen का अगर 1.11% tap से निकला है of hydrogen and 88.89% of oxygen, the same composition, the same percentage you will find in rain water also. That means when you obtain a pure compound from different sources, the percentage of those elements present in those compounds will be same, will be definite, will be fixed. ऐसा नहीं कि रेन वाटर में ज्यादा हाइड्रोजन मिलेगा या टैप वाटर में ज्यादा ऑक्सीजन मिलेगा, ऐसा नहीं, it will be same. So that is called definite provided of course compound is clear. Okay, so first important thing, what is an atom? Second is what? For example, who gave this idea of atom? John Dalton. What is that? It is a tiny, indivisible, invisible, structureless hollow particle. Come, Avi. Okay. Remedy. दिख रहा है कि नहीं आपको?
Yes, sir. I know it.
Good. अब यहाँ पे देखना है आपको, ठीक है? And then next point, what we said, they came to know that by different experiment, okay, I mean they came to know through experiment, not different experiment, that atom is not neutral. How? Like for example, when you actually rub your hand on your hair, the hair maybe, for example, gets that charge from the hand. Let us say, for example, positive charge, and your hand become negatively charged, and will run over your, let us say, body, which is having hair. Suppose the hair becomes, attracted to that particular, and why? That means hair must be positive. This is negative. That means here the matter consists of what? Charges. Matter consists of charged particles, and they came to know from the experiment that protons are positively charged, electrons are negatively charged, and neutrons are neutral. इससे मालूम पड़ा एटम में पॉजिटिवली चार्ज पार्टिकल्स भी है, नेगेटिव, तो उसको न्यूट्रलाइज करने के लिए, और फिर न्यूट्रल पार्टिकल उन लोगों को दोनों को बाइंड करने के लिए. Like there are 3 people in our family. Some are positive, some are negative, and some are neutral. Right? Some positive. कल का exam. You will say, I am not giving negative. Mommy says, no, you go, you will do well, positive. Third person says, जाना है तो जाओ, नहीं जाना है तो मत जाओ, neutral. तुम्हारी मर्जी, तुम्हारे ऊपर छोड़ दिए. 3 entities are there in every family, as a matter of fact. एक mediator रहेगा, चलो ठीक है, उसको अपने मन से करने दो. एक बोलते नहीं, negative होगा, मुझे marks कम मिलेगा. बोले नहीं, जाओ तो marks अच्छा मिलेगा. Okay, so these are the 3. So that is the way the पूरा एक group में अपना stability. Okay, remember, clear? Got it? Okay, then we discussed about, on the basis of this atomic theory, scientists, they came out with certain laws of chemical combination. That means whenever atoms combine, they combine in a simple whole number ratio. But they can neither be created nor be destroyed. Masses are conserved over it. In other words, when you take the reaction, any chemical reaction, you find, for example, the total mass of the reactants is equal to the total mass of the products. यानी जो भी एटम्स का मास रहेगा, ठीक है, वो मास कंजर्व रहेगा. यानी ये 12 ग्राम मिला है, बट उसमें से कितना मास ए का है? 2 ग्राम. कितना मास बी का है? 10. ये रेशियो कांस्टेंट रहेगा, which is called law of definite proportion also. But it will never be 1 gram of A and then 11 gram of B. यानी इसका मास एक फिर एक्स्ट्रा नहीं होगा, ना इसका मास गिरेगा, मास सेम होगा, as long as atom is A. Atom is B. Likewise, second definite proportion. Whenever union of these atoms take place, they do in a simple fixed ratio. In other words, they do in a fixed ratio. Fixed ratio का मतलब है, whenever you have water from different sources, or any compound for that matter, the percentage of one element with respect to the other always will be constant, will be definite. Following the point. That's what they have given over the law of heaven. Yes, really easy. Come on, read out. Okay? पहले ये लिख ली, ये लिखा आपने, लिखो, पहले ये लिख लो. कविश आपने लिखा है? क्या लिखा? हाँ, मेंटली लिख लिए, गुड। हाँ, मेंटली पूरा वर्बली आ गया पूरा स्क्रीन पे। हाँ, you become चिट्टी, राइट? चिट्टी मालूम है ना? कौन है चिट्टी? हाँ, 2.2 चिट्टी, 2 हाँ वो चिट्टी रोबोट। वैसा बुक देखते था, पूरा बुक आगे एग्जाम में तुमको फुल मार्क्स क्यों? वैसे तुम्हारा नविश हो जाएगा, वो बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, सब पूरा स्कैन कर दिया हो जाएगा। तो ठीक हो रही हो गया आपका कंप्लीट? श्रीनिधि, have you completed or not?
Yes, sir, just finished.
Good. How much you got in your exam?
So which one?
School exam हुआ कि नहीं आपका स्कूल एग्जाम?
No, sir, not yet started.
अच्छा, not yet started. What about our exam, UT?
The matter in our surroundings.
Matter in our surrounding is matter around us pure.
I don't think is matter around us pure was done.
Done, acha. Then
Matter in our surroundings, I think I got 10 out of 15, but
10 out of 14. 15 or 14?
15.
Now start working more because this time you get full marks, isn't it?
Yes,
I'm sure. How much you got?
In that UT test,
School exam में कितना मिला?
I didn't have a school exam, and in that test I got, I think 9.
9. Ivan,
Sir, a school test hasn't happened yet, and in the UT one I got 15.
very good. Sanmitra, तुम्हारा कितना मिला?
स्कूल टेस्ट शुरू नहीं हुआ, यूटी के टेस्ट में 14 मिले।
14 you got. Good. So now all of you next time, it was a kind of rehearsal for your first exam. Second exam, you have to completely, capture that. That means you should get full marks, isn't it? So obviously शुरू करो. Is matter around us pure? ठीक है, एक-एक question उठाओ, को exhaust करो, पूरी तरह underline करो keywords. Then you will be able to get it. Clear? So this is the second last topic. इसके बाद सिर्फ last topic बचा है, हो जाएगा chemistry. Okay, August September तक अपना portion हो जाएगा. Now हो गया सबका? Aryan?
Yes, sir.
चलो, now start reading. कौन read करेगा? कविश? चलो start. दो सेंटेंस सब पढ़ेंगे. हाँ, starting से introduction.
Matter was considered long back around the time by the end of the 20th century, scientists recognized the elements and compounds, and why elements combine and what happens in them. And to observe the formation of physical science by establishing two important laws of chemical combination.
बस चलो पढ़ो. श्रीनिधि पढ़िए.
So from where I couldn't hear him, he was not near the mic.
अच्छा. Where laws of chemical combination.
Yes, sir. The following two laws of chemical combination were established after experimentation by Lavoisier and Joseph L.
Presley, हाँ बोलिए.
Law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass states that mass cannot be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction.
Yes, very good. Next.
Law of constant properties.
नहीं, रुको. Law of constant proportion. आदि पढ़िए.
Law of constant proportions. Lavoisier along with other scientists noted that many compounds were composed of two or more elements, and each such compound had the same elements, the same proportions, irrespective of where the compound came from or who prepared it.
Yes. ठीक है ना? बोलिए.
In a compound such as water, the ratio of the mass of hydrogen to the mass of oxygen is always 1:8, whatever the source of water. Thus, if 9 grams of water is decomposed, 1 gram of
Hydrogen will produce and 8 grams of oxygen. अगर 9 grams, because उसमें से एक पार्ट हाइड्रोजन का है और 8 पार्ट, तो अगर 18 पार्ट होगा वाटर का, तो कितना पार्ट हाइड्रोजन का रहेगा? अगर सपोज 9 पार्ट में से एक पार्ट हाइड्रोजन का और 2 पार्ट ऑक्सीजन, 8 पार्ट ऑक्सीजन का है, if you take 18 grams of water,
then 1 gram of hydrogen is
नहीं, अगर देखो 9 grams of water में आपको 1 part हाइड्रोजन का मिल रहा है और 8 parts किसका मिल रहा है? ऑक्सीजन का. तो अगर 18 रहेगा तो कितना हो जाएगा चिल्ड्रन? 2 grams of hydrogen, 16 grams of oxygen. Yes or no? देखिए देखो 18 किसका है? डबल ऑफ 9. Yes or no? उसमें 1 ग्राम हाइड्रोजन का है और फॉर एग्जांपल 8 ग्राम ऑक्सीजन का है. Yes or no? 8 plus 1 9, that 2 plus 16 18. अगर 8 9 की जगह पे ये डबल दिया तो इसका भी डबल होगा, इसका भी डबल होगा, बट रेशियो इज 1:8 only ना. Yeah. So next one पढ़िए.
This lead to the law of constant proportion, which is also known as law of
Definite proportion, law of fixed proportion. पढ़िए.
This law was stated by
Proust.
as in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in definite proportions by mass.
Yes, very good. Next one. पढ़िए. Zuhan.
They picked up the idea of divisibility of matter. They took the name atoms as signified the Greeks and said that the smallest particles of matter are atoms. This theory was
Loudly. फिर से पढ़ो, फिर से important.
Dalton picked up the idea of divisibility of matter. He took the name of atoms as given by the Greeks and said that the smallest particles of matter are atoms. This theory was based on the laws of chemical combination.
Then
Dalton's atomic theory provided an explanation for the law of conservation of mass and the law of definite proportion.
yes. चलो सर्वेश पढ़िए.
According to Dalton's atomic theory, all matter, whether an element, a compound, or a mixture, is composed of small particles called atoms.
Yes.
These postulates of this theory may be stated as follows. All matter is made up of very tiny particles called atoms. Atoms are indivisible particles which cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. Atoms of given element are identical in mass and chemical properties. Atoms of different elements have different masses and chemical properties. Atoms combine in the ratio of small whole numbers to form compounds. The
Yes.
relative number of kinds of atoms are constant in a given compound.
Yes. Okay. Now after that, what is the next part given over there? Huh? What is an atom? I told you an atom is the smallest particle of the universe, we can say. And it contains what? 3 fundamental particles under it or inside it. What is that? Protons, electrons, and neutrons. So John Dalton, what he did, he studied further. That time, okay, very few elements were present at that time. Hydrogen, oxygen, okay, sulfur, ऐसा करके कुछ 8-10 elements ये थे. Okay, he said now how to actually what? For example, make them in a symbolized manner. So he drew figure because that time symbols were not actually what used. So you use figure like आपको पहले standard में क्या सिखाते हैं? For example, ये क्या है? A for apple. आपको वो फिगर बना के दिखाते हैं कि हाँ देखो ये एप्पल है, जब से आपको ये एप्पल दिखेगा आपको क्या बोलना है, ए फॉर एप्पल, राइट ना। तो दैट वे फिगर पहले दिखाते हैं, बाद में फॉर एग्जांपल लेटर डायरेक्टली आपको ये नहीं दिखा है, देन डायरेक्टली सिंबल यस और नो, व्हाट इज दिस, ए, then you realize. So पहले में John Dalton was teaching the people as nursery children. So what he did, he said hydrogen, oxygen और sulfur या कोई भी element उसको हम लोग symbolize, sorry, figure form में देंगे. So he drew because he considered atom to a sphere, almost sphere, structureless. Okay, थोड़ा सा like cotton type रहेगा चल. जैसा cotton आप निकालते बड़े पीस से, तो cotton कैसा sphere form में नहीं आएगा, थोड़ा ऊपर नीचे ऐसा रहा, ठीक है ना, तो कॉटन टाइप है बेसिकली, बट हम लोग उसको एक थोड़ा सा डिफाइंड शेप दे देते, स्फीयर, ठीक है कि नहीं। नाउ दिस स्फीयर हाइड्रोजन, उन्होंने क्या बोला, हाइड्रोजन एक सर्कल बनाएगा उसके बीच में नॉट, ऑक्सीजन खाली ऐसा रहेगा सर्कल, सल्फर कैसे दिया है, सल्फर हाँ प्लस, यस, ठीक है। नाइट्रोजन क्या दिया है, नाइट्रोजन दिया कि नहीं है,
नहीं सर,
कुछ नहीं दिया, नाइट्रोजन नहीं दिया, कौन सा दिया है, फॉस्फोरस, क्या दिया उसमें, हाँ मर्सिडी, ये देखो ऐसा करके अलग अलग, अच्छा उल्टा दे दी, ओ जॉन डाल्टन वाज अ सीधा मैन, नाउ लुक हियर, उन्होंने उल्टा दे, चलो ठीक, ये उल्टा अपना सिंबल है ना बेंच का, ये सीधा है, ये सीधा है, गुड, जॉन डाल्टन वाज राइट। नाउ लुक हियर, अब ये क्या है, फॉस्फोरस ना, फॉस्फोरस ना, ओके। अब साइंटिस्ट को क्या मालूम पड़ा कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर सपोज वाटर को तुमको सिंबलाइज करना है फिगरेटिवली, देन कैसे करेंगे, वाटर वी नो वेरी वेल इट्स मेड अप ऑफ 2 हाइड्रोजन और बीच में ऑक्सीजन, ठीक है ना। हम लोग क्या करेंगे, एक हाइड्रोजन ड्रॉ करेंगे, जैसे सर्कल हो हियर, देन ऑक्सीजन, ठीक है, और फिर सबको समझ में आएगा वाटर, ठीक है कि ऑडी टाइप, ये लेकिन सर्कल ऐसा कवर्ड नहीं है, ऐसा सर्कल, ठीक है ना, तो दिस इज कॉल्ड वाटर बॉडी, ऐसा करके अलग अलग मॉलिक्यूल का वो उन्होंने बनाया, ठीक है। बट दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग वाज एक्चुअली व्हाट टोल्ड बाय द अदर, अरे सर जॉन डाल्टन हम लोग को ये बाद में क्या भूल जा रहा है, क्या करना है, देन दे स्टार्टेड सिंबलाइजिंग these elements, okay, symbols of various elements were chosen. For example, hydrogen का starts with the letter H, okay, then hydrogen के बाद next element helium है, E, तो H और E, he यानी क्या बोलते हैं, for example यहाँ H पे stress रहेगा, second letter should be small, because अगर खाली H लिखे हैं सर दोनों सेम होते हैं, तो इन्होंने क्या बोला, second letter भी यूज करना है, कभी-कभी third letter यूज करना है, third letter means उसका third letter में stress आ रहा है, that means definitely we'll use the third letter. Now then what, lithium, lithium is Li, Li का मतलब है lie, lie मतलब यहाँ पे अगला I का मतलब है यहाँ पे E, then beryllium Be, boron B, carbon C, nitrogen N, oxygen का O, these are basic elements, इसके लिए simple single letter ले, oxygen, then next element fluorine का F, neon, this is helium, this is neon. Then sodium, sodium has come from the Latin name natrium. हाँ, अब ये देखिए साइंटिस्ट ने क्या बोला, इन लोगों का जो पुराना नाम है वो नेट्रियम है, सोडियम नहीं है, तो ना, ठीक है। सोडियम के बाद मैग्नीशियम, मग, और मैग्नीशियम में एक याद रखिए कि मैग्नीशियम, इसका स्पेलिंग क्या है, दे MAG, ए नहीं ले रहे, जी मां नहीं ले रहे, मां, हम लोग क्या ले रहे, मैग, बिकॉज ए साइलेंट हो रहा था, मैग जिसपे स्ट्रेस आता है उसको लेना चाहिए, ठीक है। देन एल्यूमिनियम, अल कबीर, अली बाबा, राइट ना, समझ में आया, या अल, ओके। नाउ व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, एल्यूमिनियम, देन सिलिकॉन, सिली, ऐसा है सिलिकॉन, देन व्हाट, नेक्स्ट एलिमेंट फास्फोरस का P, ओके, देन सल्फर का S, डायरेक्टली सल्फ, तो S पे ज्यादा स्ट्रेस आ रहा है तो उसको दूसरा लेटर लेने की जरूरत नहीं, देन सल्फर के बाद क्या, क्लोरीन, क्लो, क्लो यानी N आ रहा है, that means what, Cl, okay, otherwise spelling is CHL, but L is a silent, vowel को ज्यादा यूज नहीं करना है, A-E-I-O-U, okay, and then H. ये सब vowel ज्यादा नहीं आते, ज्यादा. I'm not saying we cannot use it, okay. Then chlorine के बाद कौन सा element? Okay, argon, A-R-R. ठीक है, argon के बाद potassium. Potassium का पुराना नाम क्या है? Helium. Helium के बाद क्या है? Calcium. Now calcium carbon C है, यहाँ पे calcium का, right? Trinity, Anshul, ये देखो. हाँ? Aluminium में. Iron, वो iron. ठीक है, तो आयरन का जो ग्रीक लेटर है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे पुराना नाम है फेरम, ओके. क्रोमियम, चिल्ड्रन, क्रोमियम, CHROMIUM, CR, क्रोमियम, ओके. मैंगनीज देखिए चिल्ड्रन, मैंगनीज, ये देखिए फर्स्ट लेटर लिया, सेकंड मां नहीं लिया, जी नहीं लिया, बिकॉज़ जी यहाँ पे क्या है, इधर यूज किया. तो मैंगनीज बोलने के लिए मैन, ओके, मैन यानी जी साइलेंट होगा. मैंगनीज बोलते हैं, बट मैंगनीज बोलेंगे तो आपको याद आएगा कि एमएन, ठीक है. मैंगनीज का क्या होगा? एमएन. देन व्हाट? फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम कोबाल्ट, चिल्ड्रन, कोबाल्ट का सी, एंड देन व्हाट? कोबाल्ट. ये को या cobalt, then okay, nickel, children, Ni, nickel, NICKEL, okay, then zinc, yeah, I silent है यहाँ पे, zinc, ठीक है ना. Then I have, for example, silver, children, silver is nothing but what? Ag. So this is nothing but argentum. Gold, औरम, ये सब पुराना नाम है. औरम, ये सब मुंबई का पुराना नाम क्या है? बॉम्बे. बॉम्बे से पहले मुंबा, वैसे यहाँ औरम. Remember, ठीक है. So these are the some of the symbols which we are going to use later on in this particular topic, and of course I will give you some more, but at this moment please write down this much only, okay. Symbols in terms of letters. Halide, lithium. Be, beryllium. Boron. अंशुल लिख लिया आपने? हाँ,
Yes, sir.
हाँ. What have you written? What? Yuvan, have you written?
Yes, sir.
Good. Srinidhi, where are you?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Good. लिखो. Have you
Yes,
written?
sir.
पूरा लिख लिया आपने? हाँ? Have you written completely? Sodium, natrium, NATRIUM. जोहान बोलिए. Helium. Hydrogen. Done. Good. Done. Done. Good. Done. AG, urgent some silver. Gold. Silver. Iron. Sodium. Potassium. Done. Good. Done now. Now read out. Read the old.
Yes, sir.
Read out. From what we left, from where we left, in fact. Where we left? Where we left? What is an atom? Come on, Srinidhi, from there you to read.
Okay, sir.
Oh, time is done. बोलिए फिर भी.
Okay, sir. What is an atom? The building blocks of matter, all matter, are atoms. How big are atoms? Atoms are very small. They are smaller than anything that we can imagine or compare with. If
Yes.
atoms are so insignificant in size, why should we care about them? This is
Yeah.
because our entire world is made up of atoms. We may not be able to see them, but they are there and constantly affecting whatever we do.
Yes. First, thank you very much. Okay, next time we'll discuss about the remaining part. Thank you, Srinidhi and others. Next time we'll discuss the. Okay.